Okay, you want us to have 3 recordings already ready for next year? Okay.
Okay.
I'm okay with that. So Anara, from what looked like a casual conversation, right? If we roll back to what is that, 5 months ago, 6 months ago, or is it more?
It was somewhere. I think when we first time talk about it was March, right?
In March, there you go, right? Just having coffee, myself, yourself. Aina was visiting the UAE.
And we thought, why not to go and record the podcast with Aina?
and talk about being spontaneous. But again, every single thing we've worked on in the delivery space has been a product of spontaneity. Yeah. Mastering solution delivery was that, what, hey, we have a pandemic ongoing. Why don't we just form a collaboration project around it?
And
little PM and reflect around the experiences.
Yeah.
So I think it was okay, and it made sense for the 3 of us to say, listen, this is when the UAE can find a podcast studio somewhere, and let's just have a recording about our experiences.
Yeah.
That was wild, right? But not too wild.
Yeah, it's a nature of us, right? If we have a good idea, why not to go and try doing that? Especially we have an amazing guest visiting us for the very good reason. She was launching her book, the PMO Evolution.
Yes.
And why not to talk about it? Why not to reflect on your journey on the mastering solution delivery? Why not to reflect on my journey with my family on the little project manager? And talk about it. And I think the main idea, what we tried to open up and discuss was our journey as an authors, how we kind of stepped into that journey, and how we launched our book and what it became further. I think it was a good discussion sharing that.
Yeah, so that initial recording with Aina was one that set the stage. I had a lot of assumptions, I had a lot of... I felt that, it's public speaking, it's podcasting. I should be able to ease myself into this. It humbled me.
But have you thought that you will be then continuing the entire series of the podcast with Impact Nexus?
I don't say no, because, we did have... the name was already ready, right? It was the Impact Nexus. There were plans around doing something. Mm-hmm. But did I know we're going to grow and expand to this point in time, have the quality and caliber of speakers we've had? I don't know if I saw that far.
Yeah, maybe not.
Yeah, I don't think so.
But we had a vision. We had an idea that we want to invite a special guest that has something to share, that really made an impact. People
making an impact in industry, 100%.
Yeah.
And what better place to find them than the UAE, right? Because you were like, listen, we live at the intersect of the world, the middle point, whereby anybody who is at some point going to be in the UAE.
Yeah.
So what better place to have a podcast around? And the UAE in itself is always doing great things. The UAE is constantly innovating, and it only made sense to have it here.
But we also wanted to make equality.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
But that's why we're in
the podcast studio here. Yes.
And I think you set the stage and you set the standard, saying, "Listen, we're not going to have video recordings over laptop screens. Like, if we're going to do this, we're going to do this properly. It's going to be in the studio. It's going to be properly recorded." We learned some editing skills.
Yes.
around the journey,
Yeah, but we also had an amazing guest. I'm really proud of the guests that we had in our podcast on this year.
Yeah. So let's run through the different episodes and what the major highlight was. Mm-hmm. So we're going to start from the initial recording. Mm-hmm. Is that the Maiden edition with Aina? What was that experience like, and what was the highlight for you?
For me, the highlights was, of course, we talked about how we wrote our books with our communities, but I think the main idea was around building the community with collaboration, and how everyone's contribution can impact and grow the idea. Even for your book and also for Aina's book. It was really a global initiative. And for you, it took just 1 month. because you've been doing it during the Ramadan. You've been very focused, but all the journey that Aina faced, I think it's a big learning for everyone who'll be listening our podcast.
Aina, you said you were an accidental project manager, and then you delved into, please, how did that go?
Yeah, so by my first degree, I'm actually an electrical engineer. So I never meant to be a project manager. And it was my second job in my life in Ukraine, a very masculine environment, a very small city. So at that time, people haven't heard about project management. So they were like engineers, and partly all of us were project managers. And then I don't really remember what happened. I think our director traveled abroad to Europe, and he was introduced to like a proper project management department. So when he got back, he decided, I need a project management department. So I need project managers. And we were running business with Switzerland and France at that moment. And there were only 2 people under 25 years old who spoke English. So I was one of these who were collaborating with French and Swiss people. So I think that's why he decided, why not to make her a project manager? I brought up like very masculine environment because I was the only one woman and kind of like partly secretary, partly everything else. So one day he just entered my office with PM book in his hands and just came to worse. So he just got to my table and told, so I know that you've been communicating with this company. So since today, I'm assigning you as a project manager. So this is the knowledge. Read in your free time. Book a meeting with me in 1 week. I'm curious what you think about it.
And it was just very practical, and it was very interesting to see how we had very similar experiences.
But different starting points.
But different starting points into the journey of project management.
Yeah, that was really kind of the connecting point between all of us, I think. Yeah. But the next guest.
Oh my goodness! Yeah. Frederick Casagrande.
Now it's Dr.
Frederick Casagrande. Yes.
And
so the thing about Fred. So Fred is not just Fred is a man of many dimensions. Yeah. So even before we talk about the podcast, just the visual effect of Frederick Casagrande on the cover is the charisma, the character. You're like, okay, who's this guy? You have the flashy flames, the tattoos, the beards, and you're like, even before clicking on, okay, I need to listen to what this guy has to say, he already commands your attention.
Yeah.
And then on the drive here, we were just talking about, because again, I picked him up from the office. He drove to my office. His driver dropped him off at the office, and then we drove here together. Mm-hmm. And we were just talking about the practice. The beauty of Fred is that we already have a relationship, right? Mm-hmm. So it was easy to continue the conversation from the car to the podcast. I think it flowed just seamlessly in the conversation. And Fred went deep, And
he had very bold points.
That's my point. Yeah. If you know Fred, he's not going to hold back, and he didn't hold back, and that's what I loved. He was very practical. I fear that some of our guests and audience may just listen to this aspect of the podcast and just hear you talking about taking antibiotics and at the same time. So let's break it down for a PMO manager on the job.
For a PMO manager on the job, you will have tools that will deliver immediate perceived value, but not sustainable. You need them. And you will have tools that are much longer to be put in place and will deliver perceived value much later and not immediately. You need them as well. You need both, so that what happens over time is the perceived value of the immediate tool is very high while the other one is very low. And while one is ramping up, the other one is fading. So you always have a cumulative perceived value of the PMO that is high enough to justify your existence.
And that's what we try and achieve on the podcast, right? Impact Nexus. We're not trying to sugarcoat things. We're not trying to have surface level conversation. He dissected why strategy doesn't work or why it's difficult to implement. It is easy, but it's difficult. we kept
remember that. Yeah.
Is it easy? It is simple. Is it easy? It is not easy, but it is simple.
Yeah.
What was your highlight or major takeaway from the conversation with Frederick?
Yeah, I think he had several bold points, and the biggest kind of maybe not the biggest point that he was trying to deliver is you should not be weak when you are trying to drive the strategy.
100%.
Yeah, you should be buying in, and then you should be driving. It might be very hard, but then you need to accept that point, and you need to have right people in the room to deliver it, and not be afraid to be honest about how to do it.
He talked about something that executive courage.
Yeah.
And that was a mic drop moment. I posted that statement all over LinkedIn and everywhere. Maybe I was also being passive aggressive, but you're in so many rooms, and you are there, and you know that that is not the right decision, or you know that we are not tackling the elephant in the room, but the courage to speak up is so difficult in rooms for different reasons. You know, people have families to take care of. People like the safety of not having an additional task on their table, or whatever reason it may be. And Fred hit the nail on the head.
It's, I would say it's courage, right? I have at least in my current job, and probably in all my previous experiences, once a week, a tough moment in a meeting where I'm the only one around the table who thinks it's a very bad idea. Or am I? Because once I start verbalizing, guys, this is a terrible idea, everybody is like, oh yeah, it is a terrible idea. But no one was actually verbalizing. So, 2 years ago, I think at some point I posted something on LinkedIn saying, this year is the year of truth in project management. Flop.
And then I got a beautiful quote from Trevor Noah to say that said, if talking about the difficult things is now the difficult things, what hope do we have when it comes to even solving the difficult things? So Fred really hit the nail on the head around courage, in the meeting room. Yeah, that was good. And then, of course, he went through the practical journey around explaining quick wins. As a leader, delivering strategy, how do you quickly utilize and maximize perceived value before true value is shown,
and also sustaining for the greater value as well.
Yeah. So Fred did what Fred did, and one thing that we always noticed, and I think we began to notice this in the conversation with Fred, was time. 1 hour is not enough for this. For this conversation.
Yeah, we need to invite Fred again.
Oh yeah, they must be.
Talking about his doctorate and personal achievement in establishing his company as well.
Yeah.
And all of his fan base.
100%. And when we interviewed him, I mean, I had no clue that he was already pursuing his doctorate. I mean, he may have mentioned it during the pandemic that, he's thinking about this or that, but he's the man of action. We were thinking, we need to have a part 2 because we haven't talked about martial arts and how he's leveraging that in the delivery space, his life as a chef, because he's also a chef.
Yes.
We didn't even touch that. So there's a lot to unpack for sure with Frederick Casagrande in the subsequent conversation with him as well. And then from Frederick Casagrande, we kind of like towed the lines around strategy and PMOs and delivery. And the next individual we had on board was
Americo Pinto.
We've
been very lucky that he was coming to Dubai. Correct. And he had just 1 hour to come to us. And
now, I think he had it was a PMO day. So that was in May, if I'm correct.
Yes,
like, where was the PMO day? In May. And I think we're very lucky, very privileged, because he, in the morning, had finished the PMO conference, and from the PMO day, he came for the recording, and I think the next day he had to head down to Saudi.
Yes.
I mean, so...
In between, he had also the dinner with the PMs
exactly.
and the community, yes.
Yeah. And what a twist of a conversation.
It is. We opened it up, his his personality,
yes.
who he is.
Yeah.
Because remember, I've been telling to you, I don't want to talk about
PMOs.
The PMOs. I don't want to talk about the framework and the technical stuff. I want to talk about America.
To be told, I wasn't quite sold about that strategy. And then when we got into the recording and how it opened up so much, I was like, yeah, Anara, you were spot on. Because everyone is having Americo Pinto and is talking about PMOs.
Yep.
And it's talking about global alliance and so on and so forth. But they're not going into how the community was formed. So it was an excellent perspective that we got from him and an unveiling of what it really takes to build global communities.
Yeah, and the global community is sitting in Brazil.
Oh, yeah.
He wasn't building it from some leveraged country.
From San Francisco, somewhere. Yeah.
So he did know English.
Yes.
He had a bright idea. He was doing his PhD, researching, and he found out there is quite a lot of value that he can provide. And then he's been driving since that.
Yeah. No, 100%. It's it was an emotional one also. I mean, maybe because he's Brazilian, but I mean, when I say emotional, because he poured his heart out in that conversation. We got to really see Americo. I think that conversation lasted over an hour. I think we got a 2-hour slot because we knew we were going to have a lengthy conversation. But it was one that he really shared, and he really gave us the playbook. He held nothing back, because we're talking about a community that had grown to thousands or tens of thousands of members. And how do you get members in there? How do you, from Brazil, become so loved in the Middle East? I mean, Saudi Arabia loves Americo Pinto.
Yeah.
And one thing I took from that was the fact that you have to have a genuine interest in the volunteers. You're not using them, but you're thinking about what they can get from it. How can they maximize the opportunity of volunteering? So he was really volunteer focused on their growth and development itself.
It's very common that people see volunteering as a workforce, so we need something to be done, let's call volunteers. At PMOGA, it's a little different. And why? Because I see volunteers as customers, our best customers, because they are engaged as no one else, So it means that I try to do something that is exactly the opposite. I try to map motivations and create groups of personas, So, for example, there is the guy that is very experienced. There is the guy that is starting in the career. There is the guy that is looking for a job. There is the guy. They are personas, and I try to understand what motivates them. What motivates someone young is, I want to learn. Someone experienced is, I want visibility, prestige. If you are a consultant, you want to make business, right? And I started to create opportunities that could give this to them.
A lot of people can learn from his experience is how different periods of your life build you.
That's good.
He was an actor pursuing a different journey. Then he was doing his PhD that wasn't that much successful yet, but learning on how to stand on the stage, how to pitch his idea, and how to be passionate about delivering the value that he saw.
So true.
And also, as you said, kind of bringing the value to the volunteers so they can also leverage from it. How all of that experiences built him as a person, and also the community, as also the global alliance.
Global alliance, like the competition, right?
Yes.
So like
his creativity,
correct.
At the end of the day, how that creativity impacted his success.
So he was able to pull the lessons, the skill set, the creativity as an actor, being on the stage, and think way out of the box, and have a concept around the football concept to determine, the PMO of the year. So that was brilliant to see. And when you started conversation saying you started your career as an actor, it's like a weird question, like where's this going? But fast track 20, 30 minutes into the conversation, it all connected.
You mentioned something a few moments ago that I believe it's very true. The word try to make you fit in a box, you know? I literally remember when I was 9 years old, right? In my school, they called my mom. I was with her, and my teacher, right, said to her, "Oh, your son won't be anything in his life because he speaks all the time, you know, with everyone, and he doesn't pay attention in what I'm saying." I remember that clearly. I was 9 years old, maybe 8. And it's interesting because if I believed her, it means that I would hide my most valued talent, that is speaking.
So that was really, I enjoyed that conversation, and I really enjoyed it because we didn't stick to, it wasn't a conversation about PMOs. So there you are with the PMO guy. If you're going to talk about PMOs, but there was so much more to unveil, and I'm happy we could get to that.
Yeah, it was so inspiring.
Yes.
And I think everyone who are thinking about building up the community
Correct.
and the volunteering, I think there is quite a lot to learn from him.
Yeah. And making impact. And then from Americo Pinto, an interesting thing, I don't know if you know this, but Frederick Casagrande is also a member of the Global Alliance, and Frederick Casagrande had won, I think, Europe PMO Leader of the Year a couple of years back.
Yeah.
So it kind of like was a seamless transition, right? You go from Americo Pinto, Frederick Casagrande to Americo Pinto, you know, all within the world of governance and delivery and strategy itself.
And you're right. We kind of started from the strategy and the governance with Fred. That discussion was amazing.
Correct.
Then we've been lucky to have Americo here to talk about not the PMO.
Not out of the box.
Out of the PMO.
Different conversation entirely. Yeah.
But then we had an amazing guest, Hiba.
Hiba.
Yes.
And one would think that we're going to have another So again, Hiba is what? PMO Leader of the Year globally, in PMI, in PMO Global Alliance.
Yes.
And the assumption will be, okay, if you have Hiba here on ground, we are going to talk, this has to be a PMO conversation. But it wasn't.
No, it wasn't. Yeah.
You know?
Let's put out on the side the technical PMO discussion, but talk about how you can become a leader and volunteer and drive the volunteering here in the UAE.
Correct. Her walk around leadership is one that I always refer to it as, we're going to the nitty-gritty, we're going to the fundamentals around leadership. Because a lot of times as project managers and people in the delivery space, we have this very theoretical basis for leading. And in her works and in her research, you know, she really simplifies leadership practically itself.
She simplified it to 4 qualities.
Yes, that's
in
correct.
her book,
yes,
right?
Yes, the elements of leadership. Yeah,
yes.
That was great to see. And then, of course, it was good to see not just what she preaches, but how it was practically implemented. Case studies around the pandemic and having pioneered well-being initiatives within her project team that has now rolled out across Dubai municipality itself.
Yes.
That was brilliant to see.
It's all about caring for your team.
Correct.
And what she's driving and the kindness.
Yes.
I think now we can say that Hiba's second name is kindness.
Yeah. The team members are the priority because they are the ones who are handling those projects. So when it comes to tough decisions or tough reports that we have to write, I work with them on those reports, and we try to submit. And in between, in the daily interactions, it's when I find out what's their values and if their values are contradicting to the organizational values. And it's task by task, and it's day by day, and it's consistency. Because if at some point I tell them I don't care about what you do, then I'm not consistent as a leader, and I lose trust. right? So consistency, we talked about integrity in the beginning and now consistency. And the third thing is empowerment. So if I empower my team to take the decisions and I test them out and say, kind of take a back seat and see what they will do, I would also find out if there is any conflict of values.
Yeah. And then another aspect of Hiba, which I never knew, because we always want to touch on people who are driving impact, and then we discover something about them, her love for calligraphy, Arabic art and all of that.
Yeah.
So again, there's this creative aspect of these leaders that we get to see, and that creative aspect influences how they lead and how they deliver.
Yeah, when your personality of your character, right, as a kind leader, then blends with the art and creativity, and blends with the very strong expertise in your industry and the field. When it all comes together, some amazing
magic happens.
And we see the people, the thought leaders like Hiba around us.
So it wasn't intentional, but if you look at the transition in that case, right, we've talked about the last 3 people were all PMO practitioners. But even before then, when it started with guys who are the forefront of portfolio management, program and project management, yourself, myself, and Aina. So we had gone on all this spectrum of delivery leaders, and then we pivoted on innovation, the innovation space. Now, all the previous speakers are individuals who are very articulate. I mean, we're talking about speakers who are speaking every other week at some part of the world. But the amount of energy and enthusiasm Asma brought to the conversation, I don't think we're going to see that level of energy anytime soon. But one thing that really stuck with us was the 3 S's, right?
Yes, so it's a signal, shift, and systems.
Signals, shift, systems. If you're going to summarize that entire conversation, it's about sensing the signals, the ability to shift.
Making the shift,
and
building system around it.
100%, because again, you don't want a one-off experience. You want to ensure that you can sustain that.
Yeah, we haven't spoken about AI and all these things happening around us now, but I think this is the great blueprint to react to any innovation that's happening around you.
The signals, the shift, the systems.
Yeah, that's the blueprint that you need to adopt if you want to be on top of any innovation now at this point of time, especially with all the transformation happening.
AI, change. Everyone is really trying to adjust to the signals. I was going to call it the buzz out there. So again, Asma went very practical, shared the blueprint. Yeah, so correct. Those 3 S's are the blueprint on how to get that done.
Yeah, but also we spoke about how you can change your life and still succeed.
So it was very interesting.
How you can take 1 year, entire gap.
If you listen to that podcast,
traveling.
I was like I was struggling with the idea of like, take a whole gap year, a year. Who's going to pay for the gap year? Can we chop it down a bit? But it was...
And how to then regrow after that 1 year, the gap, right?
But you could tell that really transformed her way of thinking. When she shared how she could see how individuals are actually utilizing technologies in the middle of the Amazon, Starlink, for example, and how they're doing great things with that, how they're innovating without a lot of infrastructure.
That we're all living longer, right? Our lifestyles are getting longer, we're living longer. And so the idea that we're going to be stuck in one job, it's kind of sad, right? Thank you. Very spot on. It's sad. So like 40 years, you're going to be doing the same thing. And that's just boring. And so do you not owe it to your life to see what else is there? And so I would really encourage people to kind of take those breaks. And it doesn't mean that you take like a proper break from work, right? Because I know that everyone is scared about what if I don't get back on the ladder? But we also are in this opportunity where technology is changing things. So I was asked this question at another event, and my response to it was that if you feel that taking a break for even 6 months or 3 months without working is too much of a risk, then you can look at maybe exploring remote locations. For example, suppose that if you're a marketing person, or if you're a tech person, or you're a builder or a software engineer, you might want to integrate it with some passion that you have. Maybe like, oh, you love scuba. So you go and you stay like, a week, a month, 3 months at a marine, biologist lab where you say, you know what, I want to contribute to this, right? So you're getting something different than being just in a work environment, but also exploring something different that creates more purpose to you as well.
And it kind of also went very philosophical, if I can use that word. It kind of, we had a moment to have a self-reflection around this rat race, and are we doing a job that we don't love? Are we really living? And I didn't really expect that from that conversation.
Yeah.
But that was a moment whereby I had to pause and think, my goodness, she's right.
Yeah. Giving the pause to yourself to understand what you have achieved and what do you want further in your life. Because maybe you don't want to run every day till you actually collapse, right? Maybe you need to just stop and then rethink and your values and what you like to do for the rest of your life, and then regrow, build on everything that you already have done in your life, because you have a knowledge, expertise, and everything to just build something new and make a bigger impact.
No, 100%. And that's the thing. We are making impact in organizations, making impacts for companies. But is that impact we're making really who we are? Like there could be a total disconnect, and we step out every morning and yes, we're doing great things, we're making change, we're making huge moves, but then we're dying inside. And in speaking with Asma, and she gave a perfect example, narrative, whereby she's having a birthday party for her spouse, and then she's still working late into the evening, and she's like, what is going on here? And as young parents and as professionals, and for our audience, it's really important, if you can't take a year, take 6 months or take 3 months, or just take an intentional pause. And Asma is someone we're going to have back on the conversation as well, because we haven't really dug deep into innovation with her.
Yes.
And then after Asma,
we tried something new, right? We wanted to have 2 guests.
Oh my goodness! Yes.
And we wanted to get into the deeper and bigger conversation by having 2 experts on one table.
That is correct. Was the goal to have the experts of competing views?
It wasn't competing views. The idea was that we will be opening up some new subjects, but what we found out is that different industries, different experts, but they are coming up to the same important point that no one should ignore, especially now.
Yes.
With the digital world.
Yeah, because in this digital world where individuals are making impact, the organizations which we serve could be impacted differently, could be impacted as well. So it was very interesting to see, and they are both cybersecurity professionals, but looking at security from different angles, right, and different industries.
From different industries, yes.
As well, Dana is really keen on ensuring that we pay attention to operations technologies, and then of course, Richard is a classic cybersecurity professional in the financial services sector.
In the financial sector, we always knew. Me also coming from the fintech industry, working there for more than 10 years, it always was a priority how you stand out and how you prove that you are secure, especially keeping the data, the sensitive data of your clients and also of their bank accounts, right? But it's not only that. It's what we've been talking about, that you need to think about it all the time, 100%. Even for your personal life, on a daily kind of conversations and everyday post that you put, you need to think about the security of yourself and what might happen. So,
I think when Richard and Dana, when we're discussing steps, what is the responsibility of employees? And when he brought it home, to your point, say, listen, it's not just about the organization, it's also about yourself. So incorporating this into your daily habits as well as an individual. How do you keep yourself secure? Then it's easier for you to replicate this in the organization. So that really made practical sense.
Yeah, but it also kind of anyone can be a weak point.
Yes. Yeah.
I speak to a lot of our senior leaders, and one of the conversations that we typically have is, are we going to be hacked? That question is definitely always front and center. The answer is not yes. The answer is not no. The answer is it depends on how much resources we pour into managing the risks that we have.
That has several reasons. One of them is that there are more cyber attacks onto operational technology to actually cause disruption.
Kind of
we are cautious. Strong. Yeah, we are strong as our weakness link, right? So if the entire organization is like, wow, we have the best technology, we have the best systems, we have the best, and then there's one individual somewhere who doesn't care about all the policies and all of that, that weak point is going to be a massive risk to the entire organization.
I think this conversation is very timely. Yes. And also always important. And it's always good to remind everyone, would it be someone working for the organization, trying to build up his own company, or leading the organization, how they think they should think about it.
No, 100%.
Yeah, and how they should invest on it. Because if you're not investing on it, then you have a very open door for everything just to leak.
Yeah, 100%. And talking about investing, I'm so happy we were able to discuss with them on the career journey, because they both got into the profession through two different doors entirely.
That's a classic for our podcast and our guests, right?
No, it's so true. Like almost every single person we've spoken to got into industry in ways that you wouldn't have expected. And then you have Dana, who's a CISO, and then Richard's a CISO. Yeah. Two totally different channels. Again, you have to watch the podcast to see how they did it, but
and also different styles.
Different styles entirely, different industries, and then they are where they are today, in really very prominent positions. Yeah. So they made it practical. It wasn't some mythical avenue to becoming a cybersecurity leader. Yeah. And in this day and age, so many people want to figure out how exactly can they make impact from that position. So that was great to see.
Yeah.
So what next? I mean, what next?
What next? Next is 2026. And should we do a teaser for our guest? I think we have very, very rich and emotional and deep discussions coming.
Yes, we do. And I think the recurring theme around the Impact Nexus is we think we understand what the conversation is going to be. Because we look at the profile of these individuals and we're like, we're going to channel the conversation in this direction.
That's what LinkedIn says to us, right?
And then they sit down and then we veer off in a powerful, impactful direction that at times it almost brings us to tears, makes us reflect and learn. So January, of course, we already have done the recordings and we already know who the speakers will be.
Yeah.
But truly impactful, truly awe-inspiring, challenging. It's one that is going to provoke you to make change. And I think it's
not an easy journey.
Not an easy journey whatsoever. Yes. Are we going to say who, or we're just going to keep the teaser? Okay, fine. We can't reveal who. But January and 2026 is going to be one filled with impactful guests, impactful conversations, and one that you can learn from and move forward in your careers.
Yeah. So subscribe, like, comment.
And
follow us.
The entire sequence, right? Yeah. Protocol. Yeah. But Anara, it's been a delight doing this with you. Yeah, I think 2025 has been brilliant.
Yes. No, it was an amazing journey. Thank you for co-hosting this podcast with me, and thank you for agreeing for this journey and taking all post-production to yourself. I think it's amazing.
We're not going to say that.
No.
But it's been a journey, and let's do it again in 2026.
To be continued.